Welcome, one and all. This is the 7th episode of 7 Sunday Morning Hot Takes, and boy, do we have some smoking hot ones for you today. Sad news late Friday night as several superstars were released, including Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Shayna Baszler, Jakara Jackson, and many others. Heavy disappointment is often the spark that can ignite smoldering anger into a blaze of fury. It's not out of control yet, but this ain't just the smell of the rocks cooking. There's a fire burning. I'm the dispatcher, and it's time to call the fire department. Hot take number 1. Sami Zayn was the MVP from WrestleMania 38 to 39. He was the heart and soul of the Bloodline saga. He should have won at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. At WrestleMania 40, he was still super over and defeated Gunther for the Intercontinental, though maybe that should have been Jack Gable. But after Money in the Bank in Toronto, where he defeats Braun Breaker, Sami's luck begins to turn. He loses the Intercontinental at the next PLE, SummerSlam, and after War Games in Vancouver, his career falls off a cliff. Since then, only a single victory against The Miz, a no contest with Carmelo, a loss to Seth Rollins on Raw, 2 losses to Drew McIntyre on Raw, and another on Saturday night's main event. 3 losses to Breaker at house shows, the losing side of a 6-man tag match with the Bloodline, a loss to CM Punk in a Chamber qualifying match, a loss to Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match, and now a loss to Braun Breaker again, this time by referee stoppage. That's 11 losses and a no contest versus 1 win against The Miz since Survivor Series in November. Most discouraging is that Sami's character hasn't been given material that brings out his best. We've seen Sami be a supportive friend to Jay, but uncomfortably with Roman too. We've seen Sami proud and stubborn and indecisive and perhaps not loyal enough to Kevin, and also sanctimonious, a loser on many occasions, and a victim. That's a tough sell. Sami's at his best when he's being funny and lacking awareness and showing naive but well-meaning heart and wild bravado. There was a time not too long ago when it was said that Sami was bulletproof, as Braun Breaker delivered another spear and the crowd chanted, "One more time." I realized those days had passed, and I wondered if Sami had just committed a heel turn through mediocrity and nothing more. And if that is by design, that is some next level booking. But now that we all hate Sami, can we get him some wins? Hot take number 2. I worry that Becky versus Lyra is a mismatch. Becky is way too popular and will never get the heat that Charlotte does. She is the anti-Charlotte, bursting with charisma. Along with Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, Becky is among the most naturally charming and poised wrestlers on the roster. It is not abnormal to admire her. She is beautiful, strong, defiant, brave, funny, and comes across as a genuine person and not a phony, two-faced, pretentious, and arrogant queen. She exudes confidence, not entitlement. That's an important difference. Don't get me wrong, I don't blame Becky for poor booking decisions. I hold her in very high esteem, but I worry that despite her best intentions, she's not going to elevate Lyra this time around. She's going to bury her. The audience is still warming up to Lyra, but they want to cheer for Becky. That puts Lyra in an unwinnable situation. I feel like Becky could manhandle slam Lyra off the back of a moving truck, and the audience would still cheer, "One more time." Becky is just so damn cool, and the badder she is, the more popular she'll be. Even if Lyra retains the title or wins the feud, if the audience boos the outcome, that's not putting her over. Sometimes the worst thing a young wrestler can do is defeat the wrong opponent, creating the perception that their push is undeserved. But I don't think Lyra will win. My paranoia and my logic tells me when a wrestler as prestigious as Becky turns heel, they don't typically lose their next match. Hot take number 3. The top of the women's roster is stacked, and it's an uphill battle for any young wrestler like Zoe Stark, Roxanne Perez, or Lyra Valkyria to get a sustained push. Tiffany broke through, and Liv made the climb, but it took years to get there. That is why it is so discouraging to see a young star on the rise having their momentum sandbagged by overzealous, hasty booking. Let's take a quick look at Lyra's accomplishments on the main roster. Queen of the Ring finalist last year, Nia Jax, won the Intercontinental, defeating Dakota Kai not once but twice, defeated Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, Raquel, and Bayley, won a tag team gauntlet match starting from the beginning, fought Liv and Raquel twice, winning and losing the tag belts, was a double champion for 24 hours. To have all that come crashing down to a projected loss to Becky that the audience will cheer, only to then be swept aside so the real bitter feud challenger and ticket draw Bayley can settle the score, is a heavy blow. Even a victory over Becky at Backlash could backfire if it gets booed, and that would be a cruel slight for someone who deserves some flowers. Maybe Lyra's gimmick needs a little tweaking. The bird thing is a bit lame. Perhaps we can kill it, and she rises again, like a phoenix. Lyra the Phoenix Valkyria doesn't have a bad ring to it at all. Hot take number 4. This isn't a hot prediction, this is a hot spoiler. Seth Rollins is your real world champion on Raw. He has firmly planted himself in the top spot on the throne. There's no crown, no trophy, no belt, but make no mistake, the future of the industry is in his hands, and unrivaled prestige is his position in the company. He is the winner of the main event at WrestleMania, which he keeps reminding everybody of, insinuating that carries the greatest importance. He defeated Roman Reigns and CM Punk to stand alone at the top of the headliners' heap. He has Paul Heyman in his corner, and he now has one of the greatest threats to anyone's dominance, Braun Breaker, as an ally and insurance policy. The title he has, he's given to himself, and it's invisible, but no one is going to be able to take it from him anytime soon. He is the main event revolutionary, the main event visionary, the main event savior, the main event messiah. He is the true main event champion. Jey Uso is the opening match warm-up the crowd champion. I know which one means more to me. Hot take number 5. I'm not at all impressed with Jay's opponent at Backlash, and I hope it will be a short opening match so that I can then relax into my comfort zone of unspoiled escapism. I've done 6 of these videos now, 42 hot takes in the book, and thus far I've managed to avoid talking about this stupid Dipstick or saying his name. That can't go on forever, I thought, but then I realized I don't have to say his name. I can just call him Stupid Dipstick, or just Dipstick for short, and you'll know exactly who I mean. There's only one stupidest dipstick on the planet involved in wrestling. There's only one wrestler whose involvement at WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber was a completely unwelcome waste of time. And I'm not talking about Travis Scott. So far he's not a wrestler, he's just a eunuch. There's only one wrestler that gets go away and never come back heat, with the most boring promos and segments that still can't put their opponent over, just diminishes them by association. The last person anyone on the roster should want to work with is this self-indulgent Dipstick. The best reaction we could give him at this point is total silence. Don't make a sound or murmur quietly to your neighbor. Talk amongst yourselves and look at your cell phones. Don't pay any attention to a professional attention seeker. That's my advice. Even a hostile reaction is a currency he can bank. Save your energy for the performers who deserve your hard-earned consumer dollars. I hope against hope that if we ignore him, the sound of crickets chirping will scare him away. Hot take number 6. Backlash is looking like it's gonna back suck. Becky versus Lyra fills me with dread for Lyra. Jay versus Dipstick is an easy pass. Gunther versus McAfee, Mac actually makes me Mac sad. No joke, this is straight up beneath the ring general. Pat's a funny guy, sometimes, but he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer and seems to have few meaningful convictions. He presents himself as being knowledgeable about everything, but an expert on nothing. As a wrestler, he's a novelty act, a sideshow, not a serious contender, and he's not a serious person. It's one thing for him to hand Austin Theory his comeuppance, but Gunther? The only believable outcome is Gunther tearing McAfee's limbs off one by one and sending them to the hospital with his torso by taxi in a large plastic bag. Gunther should be treated like Brock Lesnar or Goldberg. Even the best need to be at their best, or they'll get killed, and everyone else shouldn't stand a chance. Can you imagine McAfee makes Gunther tap? If Triple H really wanted to tell critics of the WWE to fuck off, the opportunity to do so is right there. An idea that could save this from being a catastrophe at Backlash is parachuting in Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus to make it a tag match. Kaiser is lightweight and a good worker who can sell his ass off for McAfee, and Sheamus and Gunther can bang it out, and the whole thing seems a lot more balanced, and now I don't care who wins. Not sure where Sheamus is or what they have planned for him, but if he isn't going to be hunting down Dominic and the Intercontinental, then maybe he could help a foolish, clumsy fellow of common Irish lineage by renewing hostilities with old acquaintances Gunther and Kaiser, and have one more banger with them, for old time's sake, and for the good of every fella. Sorry, I awkwardly transitioned there into a maritime sea captain. They're always so out of breath. Hot take number 7. Well, at least there'll be one good match at Backlash. Added Friday night, a fatal 4-way for the US title with Fatu and Drew, Priest, and LA Knight. McIntyre, the number 1 contender, is getting absolutely screwed in this deal, and so is Fatu. I'd actually prefer if Drew went after Jay and steered clear of Fatu. I think anyone with any good sense should steer clear of Fatu for the next little while. He's not losing in a one-on-one matchup. The fact that it's a fatal 4-way opens the door to solo-related shenanigans and a possible backdraft in the Bloodline Wolfpack if things go sideways. Thanks for being here. Believe it or not, this is already my go-home show for Backlash. Next week's Hot Takes will have my post-Backlash reactions. But there's still episodes of Raw and SmackDown to squeeze in first. Condolences are in order. The alarm is sounding. Can the flicker of discontent be extinguished before it rages into a 5-alarm dumpster fire? Will the first responders get there in time, and will they have adequate backup and personnel support? Don't ask me. I've done what I can. I'm the dispatcher, you're on the top turnbuckle, and every day is a sunset flip.